I believe the greatest political movement of all time.
So you won't hear from the vice president tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow.
Former President Donald Trump will return to the White House. That's after CBS News, CNN, and the Associated Press all projected wins in key battleground states. Vice President Kamala Harris did not speak last night. Instead, her co-chair told her watch party that she will speak later today. Thanks for being here at 11 a.m. I'm Eric Connors.
And I'm Netta Irampour. It is now the first time in U.S. history a convicted felon has the title of president-elect. As Jared Hill reports, the former president's solid victory this time around is a story of strong voter turnout.
This is a magnificent victory for the American people.
Overnight, Donald Trump relished in what his supporters call the greatest political comeback in American history.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Trump's campaign strategy to appeal to people who don't vote frequently in key battleground states worked, ultimately putting him well over the required 270 electoral votes. And it's what played out in make or break Pennsylvania.
People who voted early, they went overwhelmingly for Kamala Harris. But then what happened yesterday? Boom, Donald Trump turned out more people day of.
Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign has always said if she loses, she'll concede the race. That call to her opponent could come today. She's also expected to address supporters at her alma mater, Howard University.
You won't hear from the vice president tonight.
The crowd there dispersed last night after learning Harris wouldn't make an appearance. As Team Trump prepares to head back to the White House, they're calling for hope and optimism.
He is going to be a president for all Americans.
Senior advisor Jason Miller says the president-elect can hit the ground running with executive orders.
He can simply flip the switch on day one, secure the border, start the energy exploration again, which will help with reducing inflation, making things more affordable.
A vast majority of voters nationwide described the economy as bad. It was a top concern among Trump voters. Jared Hill, CBS News, the White House.
And we have team coverage tracking local election results this morning. Chris Groh is live at City Hall following the race for mayor. But first, we want to go to Regina Urita, live at the Registrar of Voters, with an update on statewide propositions.
Yeah, good morning to the both of you. I want to start with voter turnout because right now we're looking at 49% in terms of voter turnout. That includes over 975,000 ballots that have already been counted. This is still the unofficial election results, but we're already getting an idea of what Californians are voting yes to and what they're rejecting. I want to break down several ballot measures and actually start with Prop 36 because that is one that is about to pass. This is a ballot measure aimed to increase penalties for theft and drug arrests. Right now we're seeing that 70.4% voted yes and only 29.6% have voted no. Early polling is showing strong support, partly because many supporters are fed up with those smash and grabs happening at retail stores throughout the state. We've seen videos circling around social media showing this all over California. But opponents of the ballot measure have raised concerns over spending more to incarcerate. Social justice groups say Prop 36 will disproportionately imprison people of low income and those who are suffering with addiction. Let's move over to Prop 32. This measure aims to raise the minimum wage in California. Early results show about 52% voted no and about 48% voted yes. Right now, it's too close to call, but what I can tell you is California's minimum wage is currently at $16 an hour. Prop 32 wants to raise it to $18 an hour. Supporters say working families need a boost to afford housing and other basic needs, but critics argue mandating pay hikes would increase food prices and worsen inflation. Lastly, I want to get to Prop 33 because this is another ballot measure that California voters seem to have rejected. Over 5.4 million Californians said no on Prop 33, making up 62% of the votes compared to the 38% of the voters who voted yes. Now, a yes vote would allow cities to impose rent control on any type of housing, and a no means state law would continue to limit rent control. So those who support it say the rest to cost Those who support it say the cost to live in California is simply too high. Those against it say this would only make the housing crisis even worse. So back out here, if that prop is very similar to something that you've seen in past elections, that's because they have had a similar prop not only in 2018 but also in 2020, and they have failed. This is the third time that a rent control prop or ballot measure has failed again. But it seems that many voters are very much interested in the elections. Another race that they're very much interested is the mayoral race here in San Diego, and I want to send it over to my colleague Chris Groh, who's live in City Hall with more on that. Chris?
And Regina, I think coming out of the primaries, if you said that there would be this separation between the incumbent San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria as well as his challenger independent Larry Turner, you may have been surprised. But if you've paid attention to this race in the recent weeks, this may not come as a surprise, as we have seen a number of donors giving to the Larry Turner campaign, as well as hearing about reports of several independents breaking away from Mayor Gloria's campaign. So you could take a look at your screen right now. This is the current race results that we are looking at right now. Of course, not all of the votes have been counted as of yet, but what we are seeing is something that has stood so far, as we are waiting for more votes here, is that this is about a 55-45 split right now between these two candidates. Mayor Gloria still very much there in the lead, looking at a more than 33,000 vote count lead at this moment. We did catch up with Mayor Todd Gloria last night during election night and during the thick of it, if you will. Here's what he had to say.
I used to say I did the job for 8 months, I can do it for 8 years. That may have been a little naive in the sense that I think in that time when I did it temporarily, any problem that has shelf life of more than 8 months, that wasn't necessarily shared with me. Now you get this job and you're here for 4 to 8 years, you get to see anything and everything that's out there. And there are there are endless amounts of challenges, but I get strength from that.
Yeah, so Mayor Gloria, first elected back in 2020, now coming up here to the end of his first term, has constantly been sort of relaying that message that the city of San Diego is facing a host of issues, but these are issues that cannot be faced in just one term. We're talking about homelessness, skyrocketing rent costs, as well as other housing costs, and then roads, infrastructure, something that we know and we have seen firsthand his administration attempting to address. At the same time, though, that has left an opening for someone like the independent in Larry Turner, taking the cues there and looking at those issues and campaigning on them. Of course, Turner, a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel, a current San Diego Police Department officer, comes with no political experience, but has received the amount of votes that he has by, again, focusing on those key issues that he continued, especially after we spoke with him, again, also as well just last night.
I first started working around the mayor's office and seeing the dysfunction there and the incompetence and the youthfulness of his staff, and a lot of people not accepting the facts of what's going on, so they had horrible plans. And I didn't see that changing. Wanted somebody else to run. Tried to ask a few friends of mine. Bill Walton was one of them. Unfortunately, his health was such that he couldn't do it, so I ended up stepping up to run.
And we have reached out to both campaigns for reaction today to get a sense again of what they're looking at as they continue to pay attention. They told us that they're not going to be doing interviews as of now, but that they're both campaigns are paying very close attention to these numbers, especially as we continue to see this vote count get closer and closer to that 100% reported number. Eric and Netta.
All right, Chris, thanks for the update. And we want to update you. We're tracking a slew of other local races here. There are 5 contests for spots representing San Diego County districts. Here are the numbers right now for District 48. You can see Daryl Issa with 60% to Stephen Houlihan's 40%.
And now District 50 here. Let's show you what's happening with that race. Scott Peters is well in the lead, 63% of the vote against Peter Bono with 37% of the vote. So leading by quite a bit there. Also, District 52. This one is with Juan Vargas, 64% of the vote. He, of course, is the Democratic incumbent for House District 52 against Justin Lee with 36% of the vote.
That's Representative Adam Schiff celebrating his projected win against Republican and former baseball player Steve Garvey. The two were running for Dianne Feinstein's Senate seat. Taking a look at the latest results for the U.S. Senate spot, Adam Schiff a commanding lead, 14 points over Steve Garvey, 57-43. Also following the U.S. Senate race between incumbent representative, that would be the race we're looking at here. These numbers have actually gone up a couple percentage points in just the past couple hours.